video, I saw it last night. Let me give you guys a lesson here. And if you didn't know, the Ornn on my team wanted to freeze top instead of taking top tower, right? I'm not going to get into it too much, but like, whatever, yeah. And then some of the comments, dude, what the fuck am I reading in some of these comments? Look at this. Look at what some people are saying. If you actually freeze there, you would deny and get more gold that the tower was worth. What if you freeze and reset up a top gank by full clearing from bot to top? Actually, you're vastly underestimating freezing, you know? You would get a difference of like 275 gold and down XP, but it's completely worth it. You're missing a key element. You would get a certain fucking throw my calculator, la 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 la, you'll get an extra 120 gold. Dude, people in League are so low elo that the only thing they think about is gold. Like, I guarantee you these players are all hard stuck, diamond 1 or below, and all they're thinking about is gold. Guys, let me tell you something. There's more things in game than just gold in terms of resources. There's vision, which leads to pressure, which leads to being able to make picks, having towers so you can push the tier 2s to have more pressure over objectives. If top tower is dead, Ornn can push out top and move mid and pressure Ziggs to get mid push, to secure Drake, to have easier access, to get vision. Like, gold is of course useful, but control, pressure, vision, being able to move first, these things are just as important as gold. How many times have you seen pro games or solo queue games or whatever it is where one team is up 3k gold but they can't contest Drake? They're up 4k gold but they just lost Baron. They're up 5k gold but they're losing out on tower trades. Dude, it's because the enemy team has more control and you're slapping gold as the most important resource in the game into your fucking bronze games, and that's why you're hard stuck. Okay, rant over. Now, I will say, before I finish that rant, freezing is good. Sometimes. Actually, let me make you a little checklist here. Okay. When should I freeze on side lane? Let's imagine... wait, let me get thingy up. What's it called? No, shut the fuck up, you. What's it called? The map? Rift Kit. Rift Kit. Look. Let's imagine, when is freezing good? Okay? Let's talk about gold for a second, next PNL. Okay, let's imagine we're red side. Yeah, we're red side. And my top laner is, he lost his bot tier 1. The top bot tier 1's dead, and he's freezing here. When is it good to do this? Okay, when is it good to freeze on his bot tier 2? Well, a lot of things have to check the boxes. First thing is, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. Can the enemy team pressure the map? Can the enemy team 5-man siege mid? Right? Can they 5-man siege mid? Like, if he can push in bot and move to mid and start sieging my tier 1, is it worth freezing? Well, you're going to lose a tower anyway? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's fine to freeze. If you were there, could you defend it? Well, yeah, it depends on your champ, right? If you're playing Ornn, maybe it's better to just fast push bot, run mid, and try to stop them from being able to siege and engage or whatever. If you're playing Fiora, obviously you're useless in teamfights, right? So the context of you roaming mid is completely useless. If you have TP up on a Wukong who wants to freeze bot, sure, you have TP up. You can let them siege mid and TP behind and hold the freeze bot, right? Freezing bot makes sense. If you're playing Camille, same thing applies. Well, now if you don't have TP, now all of a sudden, they can siege your tower, and they can take a Nash, or they can start sieging your top tier 2, or whatever it may be. They can pressure the map, okay? Those are important questions you have to ask yourself, depending on what they can do on the map, right? If they can actually make plays on the map. If your team's in base and their team's in base, dude, 100% freeze that fucking wave. If my team's in base and their team's in base and there's nothing up, dude, freeze it. But if the enemy team is sieging onto my mid tier 2 and he pushes in bot and moves mid on Camille or Ornn or whatever, then I'm fucked if I don't push out bot and help and match. Because the reason pushing out bot is good is when I push this wave and the wave is here and this top laner is wasting his fucking time, eventually he has to go back and catch the wave. The sooner I push it out, the sooner he has to catch the wave, which means my team is relieved from pressure, right? And pressure is really important. It's not just gold, it's all about pressure as well. So, freezing has its scenarios. It's good in some instances. But in a lot of instances, it's bad. I think two most important things. TP cheats the rule, where freezing is probably always good if you have TP and they move. Sure, that cheats the rule in most scenarios. Outscaling your lane, right? If I'm playing Fiora into Camille and I'm behind, well, if I get 2 items, I'm going to smack that lane up, right? I'm going to smack that lane up. So, yeah, I can freeze bot. Drop mid tier 1. Drop mid tier 1. I'll freeze bot. I'll, scalings, give gold to me, and I'll carry. But if I'm playing Ornn and I'm freezing bot and they're sieging my mid tier 1, dude, I can stop them. I can slow the game down. Me having a 10 CS lead on Ornn is fucking useless. Especially if the enemy team is playing like a Camille or something, split pusher or whatever, and they're forcing mid, whatever it may be. Okay, now. Yeah, we go time warp. So TP cheats the rule. You have to check your, I think the three most important things. TP check. If you have it, you can freeze because you cheat the rule in most cases. Outscaling your opponent, you know. If I'm playing Fiora into Camille, of course, I can just chill. But if I'm playing Camille into Fiora, then all of a sudden the matchup's changed. If I freeze bot and I try to get a CS lead on Fiora, I'm never winning this side lane anyway. So what's the point? Just push out and try to make plays happen. That's the whole job. That's the whole reason Camille versus Fiora matchup. Fiora wins 1v1, but Camille is really stronger in team fights. Like, she's much stronger in fights, so makes more sense for her to look for plays. TP outscale and playmaking. This is the next thing you have to ask yourself. If they're playing, you know, Ornn, for example, we'll go back to Ornn, and they push me into tier 2, and this Ornn has pushed me to here, and he's running like this, ignoring the spot wave, or he's just running like this, my mid tier 2, he's going to press R. And when he presses R, my team has to back off. And when my team has to back off, he can take my tier 3 as well, maybe. You know, he's forcing my team away. Or maybe he just starts Drake with his team and forces my team to be there. So if they have playmaking, you have to make a choice, you know? If they're playing Ornn and I'm playing Wukong, as an example, right? If this top matchup ever happens, then I have playmaking too. So me matching that ult mid makes sense, right? It makes sense for me to match Ornn and try to counter-engage and stop them sieging and slow the game down, right? However, if I'm playing, you know, something like Jace into Ornn, maybe freezing bot is good, you know? Because I don't really think my Jace can do much to stop this siege, to stop this ult mid, to stop them from being able to take my tower. And then the last thing is, what else? What else could I do instead of freezing, you know? If this Ornn, we'll just keep using Ornn or Jace or whatever, he pushes me into bot tier 2, yeah? And he pushes me into bot tier 2. And these towers are dead. Yeah, let's imagine these towers are dead. And this tier 1 is up. And he runs towards my topside jungle to try and shift for tier 2. Is it in my best interest to freeze? Or is it in my best interest to push and take his tier 1? And after they take my tier 2, he bases and catches bot. Then we trade towers at least. Of course, they're getting more gold. But it's better than freezing here, in essence, right? Because now you've taken bot tier 1. What does that mean? Well, maybe you've got more gold freezing. Yes. And you're denied XP. Yes. But now next time when I push out bot, it goes all the way to tier 2. So it buys me more time to stay with my team. Because if his tier 1's up, the wave bounces so quickly at 30 minutes in the game. So yeah, 4 things to think about. TP check to cheat the rule. Outscale for the winning matchup or playmaking to depend on what you want to do. Playmaking when it comes to what they can do, right? If they can move mid and I can match, it's always good for me to do it. If I can't match and my champ's useless in team fights, whatever, then it's probably useless for me to be there in the first place. And what else can I do instead of freezing? You know, is it worth to take their bot tier 1 if they're shifting from my top tier 2? Is it worth to just trade objectives? Or is it better to just freeze here and there's nothing for them to take? Right? Those are the 4 things you have to ask yourself when freezing. Most cases, especially in solo queue, freezing is useless. I'll say it. Most cases in solo queue, freezing is useless because the game is so fast-paced and there's so many inters that freezing doesn't do much. Because if I'm freezing here in solo queue, my team's gonna die mid. There's no doubt in my mind. It's solo queue. In competitive, freezing has its places. Freezing has its places in competitive. Not all the time, but not never either. It has its place.